MJOLNIR'S Strike is the newest game mode for Fire Emblem Heroes. Don't blink because the main action only lasts for one single day, and at the moment it's unknown how often this mode will be available. If you're watching this video the day it's been uploaded, then the battling portion of the event kicks off on the next reset and only lasts a day, so be sure to get your runs in. The recent Feh Channel talked about this mode a bunch, but we'll cover the basics again because there are a couple things that were not mentioned that you should know. As a general summary of the event, MJOLNIR'S Strike is sort of an amalgamation of a bunch of different game modes. It has structures from Aether Raids, the parrot mechanic featured in Allegiance battles, a similar scoring system to the arena, and even a community-wide aspect like in the Voting Gauntlet. The main goal of MJOLNIR'S Strike is to defend two gates at the bottom of the screen from spawning enemies at the top, and try not to lose any units along the way. Overall, this mod has a lot of aspects that you need to keep track of, so let's go over that right now. This event/mode is split into three different parts. The Brace phase is where you can prepare for the oncoming assault. Look over what bonus units and structures are available and edit your map plus defense teams. You can even test out your defenses like in Aether Raids. The Shield phase is where the real deal begins, and you must defend your gates for 7 turns. You have unlimited tries to achieve a high score like in Allegiance battles, but for this phase it only lasts for one single day, so missing out is gonna suck a lot. After this, the counter phase begins, and this also only lasts for a day. During this time, the score you've earned from the shield phase is used as ammunition against the enemy forces. This phase is like the Voting Gauntlet, except you only get 3 chances to attack the enemy, and there are combo multipliers and even a weaker bonus multiplier too. A lot of moving parts going on for just this mode, so let's get into the details. In this mode, you can deploy up to 8 different heroes, and they are split into 4 pairs of 2 units using the parrot mechanic. Dual heroes cannot use their dual skills, unfortunately. There are 4 roles, but it's really just 1 attacker and 3 defenders who get stat boost to clean up what's left. The attacker pair is placed at the top of the screen and can only move within the first 3 rows. They are not targeted during the enemy phase, but enemies will still hit back when you attack them first. The other 3 pairs get bonus stats of plus 10 speed, defense, and res respectively. It's up to you how you want to delegate these stats, but the units themselves can go in any of the 3 positions at the bottom. Now before you begin picking units, you should know that MJOLNIR'S Strike scoring works off of 3 different aspects. 1 is the difficulty you select, 2 is your defensive team's strength, and 3 is your tier level. This mode uses the arena style of scoring, which I'll leave up to you to search up if you want to go more in depth, but essentially this is where merges and SP cost of skills matter. There also seems to be a tier system that was compared to arena, so considering everyone is at tier 1 right now, the battles should be easier, and as you climb higher, I assume things are going to get more difficult in some way. These 3 factors create your highest possible score. The strength of your defensive team is the biggest factor you can control, and there are some key things you need to know. First off, the game only takes the highest possible score value from each pair of units, which means you should have your 4 highest scoring units in 1 pair each. If you aren't a big arena player or just newer to the game, then you will want to pay attention to Mythic Heroes. Mythic Heroes get a score boost and a stat boost in MJOLNIR'S Strike, but only if their element is on the rotation. You can see what rotation or season is on the main screen. The major element gets plus 4 to their HP and all stats, while the minor element gets plus 2 to everything. For scoring purposes, the major element Mythic will be treated as if they have plus 10 merges, and for the minor element, they're going to be treated as if they have plus 5 merges. This is huge for players without really high scoring units. For example, during this first season, Peony is going to score extremely well, and even Air as well, but not as high as Peony. For those already prepared for arena, sometimes the plus 10 merge bonus won't outscore your best units, but regardless, keep them in mind when the seasons change to different elements. You can see your score when you test your defenses, and you can change the element season around too. To help you get the highest score possible, you get access to the use of mechanisms, aka these are the Aether Raid type structures. Mechanisms can be placed on your map in certain spots and can be activated to give your units bonuses or even inflict penalties on the enemy units. Each one has a cooldown timer that goes down every turn, so be sure to keep that in mind. I won't be going over all the mechanisms at this moment, but a lot of them have HP conditions, so be careful activating them. You can purchase and upgrade mechanisms the same way like in Aether Raids, just using Midgard gems. You may not want to spend all your gems immediately because there are bonus structures. Having the bonus structure on the map gives you all your units plus 4 to all stats, so you may want to keep some around so you can build the next bonus structure on the next go around. The bonus stats in this mode get a little insane. A major mythic elemental hero can get plus 4 HP, plus 8 to all stats, and then plus 10 in speed, defense, or res if they're in those slots. Suddenly, frail little peony isn't so frail anymore. When the shield phase begins, your goal is to get the best possible score. You can do this by not losing any units and not losing the 2 gateways. You may continue fighting as long as 1 gateway survives, but your score will be lower. Once the shield phase is over, the counter phase begins. I'm not 100% sure on this part of the mode just yet, but we have some information that wasn't discussed in the Feh Channel. For one, you only get 3 counter arrows to unleash 3 attacks. You can use multiple arrows at once, but once you're out, you're done. The goal is for the community to have more points than the enemy force when the counter phase ends, but there are more mechanics going on. First, like in the Voting Gauntlet, the score is updated hourly, and if we have less points than the enemy, we can trigger the weaker bonus, which grants a 3x multiplier. Second, there is a combo bonus, which I believe basically boils down to how many counter arrows are used in a round. What I'm not sure is if this bonus is counted from the last round or if it's from the current round, because it seems like the combo number goes up in the same hour in the Feh Channel example. This bonus ranges from 1.1 times to 1.5 times based on how big the combo number is. This makes it seem like it's only worth it to spend counter arrows during the weaker bonus and when the combo bonus is high. Everyone only gets 3 arrows, so that's not a lot of chances. I think the tier level for the rewards are just based off of the base score you earn during the shield phase, but if it's actually the score from the counter phase, then you actually need to have a good counter phase and pay attention. If this is not the case, then people can spend arrows more willingly because there is another mechanic at play here. The main priority is just for the community to beat the enemy by the end of the last round. Doing this gets us 1 Asker level, and that's a shared level everyone has, and that's for rewards. This level is going to be kept for future MJOLNIR'S strikes. If we manage to be in the stronger position for a total of 10 hours or more during the counter phase, then the Asker level actually goes up by 2. If we lose the event, the Asker level goes down by 1. While Asker levels only grant hero feathers, there is an incentive for everyone to chip in at all times. I don't believe there is a time multiplier or anything, so if you spend your arrows at the start or at the end, it shouldn't matter. It just depends on the weaker bonus and the combo bonus. For rewards, this mode offers hero feathers, which as we discussed is from the shared Asker level. The tier rewards appear to be similar to Arena. If you get a higher score, you can move up the ranks, and I assume this is going to end up at tier 20 or 21 like the other modes. For tier rankings, you can earn dragon flowers and Midgard gems. Remember, Midgard gems are for building or upgrading mechanisms. You'll probably want those as battles get tougher. The third reward is divine codes, and it's unknown what these scraps of paper actually do just yet. They are labeled as part 1, which is really odd, and there's really not any huge hints as to what we'll use them for. Leave your best guess in the comments. As it stands, it doesn't hurt to stock up on them, so shoot for a high score at the moment. If this mode is in fact weekly, then divine codes are probably going to be important down the line. I think that's the main gist of MJOLNIR'S strike. Now let's talk about tips. For mechanisms, while you probably want the bonus one every time, I imagine the Life's Jewel healing mechanism will probably be an important one to have as well. Stopping the enemy isn't enough for a high score, your units have to survive the fight as well. Having a large AoE heal will probably be really good as a failsafe. For your team composition, I think a Gale Force user will be really handy for the attacking pair. Getting to move again and take out another target potentially helps out your defenders, and you can even run 2 Gale Force units since you can switch out after 1 Gale Force procs. Also handy to know is that you can dance the attacking pair if they are lined up along the defender area. For the attacking pair, this might actually be a good time for obstruct. Stalling the reinforcements can be a valuable asset, and if a lot of cavalry units are present, obstruct just might be able to slow them down. If you want a unit to put obstruct on, as odd as it seems, Surtur might actually be good in the top area. Sinmara hits the spawning enemies for 20 damage, and he also debuffs them too. He might also be good in the bottom area, but just from testing, I found Surtur to be hilarious so far. For defenders, I definitely think you'll want your best tanks or mixed phase units. Distant counter is really nice to have, and Aether for the extra sustain is also very useful. Pretty much any units that are going to be good for Inferno or Abyssal difficulty maps are the ones you're going to want protecting your gateways. I think Savage Blow will be very handy when battles get harder, since enemies are often clumped together. Units like Jafar or AoE special spammers should be good if you bring a Dancer. Thanks to pair up, you can also switch these units out for the enemy phase to protect them and use things like Vantage to mob up weakened foes. Something to be careful of are the enemies with Pass, especially if a Cavalier has it. They will target the gateway if they can. In general, just browse through each enemy's skills, because at least from just the test battles I've seen a lot of breaker skills which can trip you up. Let me know what your game plan is for the first MJOLNIR'S strike in the comments. If the battles do get harder based off a tier, then this first one shouldn't be too bad. As the mode moves along, the higher tier fights may require different strategies, or brute forcing may not be as viable. We'll just have to see what happens. That's all I got for now. Don't forget to actually participate in the event tomorrow. Hopefully this is a weekly mode, although I wish the shield phase lasted a bit longer. Seems kinda odd to only have it for such a short duration. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.